Today we're going to talk about a specific type of sequences called arithmetic sequences. You might look at this word and think it says arithmetic, but it's really pronounced arithmetic. So in an arithmetic sequence, the difference between any consecutive terms is constant. That means it's always the same. The difference between them. So this is called a common difference because it's always the same, and the letter that we use is the letter D. D stands for difference. So if you want to get the difference in any arithmetic sequence, what you do is subtract the second term minus the first term, which is the same thing as the third term minus the second term, which is the same thing as the fourth term minus the third term. So if you subtract any term from its previous term, I said that wrong, a term minus a previous term, then you're always going to get the same difference. One term minus the previous, one term minus the previous, one term minus the previous. It's always the same. So if you want to calculate the nth term of an arithmetic sequence, that's what usually our job is to calculate the nth term. You need to know the first term. You need to know the common difference. And then you're going to use this formula. Now, this is one of the formulas this year that you're going to have to memorize. And it goes like this. The nth term is equal to the first term plus the difference times whatever term it is you're finding, that number of term, minus 1. So somehow, maybe you can make up a fancy saying or something, but somehow you're going to have to memorize this formula. If you want to solve this for D, sometimes you need to figure out what D is if you're given everything else. So if you solve this for D, you subtract AN minus A1 to get rid of that A1, and then you divide by N minus 1. So if you ever need to figure out D if you're given everything else, you take the nth term, subtract the first term, and divide by whatever that N value is minus 1. So sometimes this is useful, sometimes it's not. So now what we have to do is decide whether or not these sequences that I give you down here is arithmetic or not. If it is, we're going to find the common difference, which is called D. So how we do this is we subtract. Is 12 minus 7 the same thing as 17 minus 12? The same thing as 22 minus 17? The same thing as 27 minus 22? Let's see. 12 minus 7 is 5 equals 17 minus 12, which is 5, equals 22 minus 17, which is 5, equals 27 minus 22. So the answer is yes, all equal 5. So D is equal to 5. Another way to think about this is 7 plus 5 is 12, plus 5 is 17, plus 5 is 22, plus 5 is 27. So you can just put a plus 5 here to get to 12, plus 5 to get to 17, plus 5 to get to 22, plus 5 to get to 27. So you're adding the same number to get to the next term, so the difference is the same. So the answer is yes, it is arithmetic because all these differences are equal to 5, so D is 5. The next set of sequence, the next sequence is 10 minus 5 equal to 20 minus 10. Well, you can tell right off the answer is no, because 10 minus 5 is 5, 20 minus 10 is 10. So because they're not equal to each other, the answer is no. So it is not arithmetic. So there is no D value. If it's not arithmetic, there's no such thing as a D value because all the differences are different. Okay, the next one is negative 2 minus 5 the same thing as negative 9 minus negative 2, the same thing as negative 16 minus negative 9, the same thing as negative 23 minus a negative 16. Is that true? See, negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. Negative 9 minus negative 2 is the same thing as negative 9 plus 2. Well, yeah, that equals negative 7. Negative 16 minus negative 9 is negative 16 plus a positive 9. Well, yeah, that equals negative 7. And negative 3 minus negative 16 is negative 3 plus 16. So yes, that equals negative 7. So the answer is yes. And you can think about it this way. How do you get from 5 to negative 2? You add a negative 7. So negative 5 plus negative 7 is negative 2. Plus negative 7 is negative 9. Plus negative 7 is negative 16. Plus negative 7 is negative 23. So yes, the D value is equal to negative 7, the common difference. So we have two arithmetic sequences, numbers 1 and 3. Number 2 is not. So now what we have to do is write a rule. And the rule is this formula right here. This is the rule in this colored box. So we have to write a rule for the nth term and then simplify it. And then they want us to find the 10th term. So I'm telling you that all of these are arithmetic sequences. We don't have to figure that out for ourselves. So what we have to do is figure out the first term, because an, the nth term, is equal to the first term. And then we have to figure out the common difference. And then n is a variable, and then you just do minus 1. So this is the variable n. A1 first term and the d difference are actually numbers that we're going to fill in. So here is A1. Here is the first term. It's 1. So we say the nth term is the first term plus, what's the common difference? What do we have to do to get to the next? We have to add 6. 13 plus 6, 19 plus 6, 7 plus 6. So D equals 6. So the first term plus 6 times n minus 1 is the nth term. And now we're going to simplify it by just distributing the 6. So 1 plus 6n minus 6. And then we're going to combine like terms. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. So the nth term is 6n. 1 plus negative 6 is minus 5. So that is the rule, simplified. And then they want us to find the 10th term. So the 10th term is 6 times 10 minus 5. 60 minus 5 is 55. So there's the 10th term. If we wanted to write them all out, we could figure that out. But this is a faster way. The next one. The nth term is the first term plus d times n minus 1. Well, in this case, the first term is 2. And how do you get to the next? You have to add 7. 9 and 7, 16 plus 7, 23 plus 7. So d is 7. So 7 times n minus 1, distribute the 7, and you get 7n minus 7, and then combine like terms. 2 minus 7 is negative 5, so the nth term is 7n minus 5 when you combine like terms. So there's the rule. And now they want us to find the 10th term. So the 10th term is 7 times 10. Minus 5. 70 minus 5 is 65. That's the 10th term. Oops. Next. The nth term is the first term plus d times n minus 1. Well, the first term here is negative 4. And how do you get to the next? What do? You have to add 2. Negative 4 plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. The d is equal to 2. So you have 2 times n minus 1. The nth term is negative 4. Distribute the 2. Combine like terms. Negative 4 plus negative 2 is negative 6. So the nth term is 2n minus 6. There's the rule. And now let's find the 10th term. It is 2 times 10 minus 6. 20 minus 6 is 14. So there's the 10th term. Number 7 is even easier than 4, 5, and 6 because they come right out and tell you the first term and the difference. So let's just write our formula. The nth term is equal to the first term plus d times n minus 1. So the nth term is, the first term is 7. The difference is negative 4, so I'm just going to put a minus 4 times n minus 1 because the difference is negative. So if the plus turns into a minus. So now we're going to distribute the negative 4. Negative 4 times n is negative 4n. Negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. So the nth term is equal to negative 4n. 7 plus 4 is 11. So there is your rule. And now to find the 10th term, negative 4 times 10 plus 11. Negative 4 times 10 is negative 40. Negative 40 plus 11 is negative 29, I believe. So there's the 10th term, negative 29. Another one where we have a nice given information. The nth term is the first term plus d times n minus 1. The first term is negative 9. The difference is 5. Distribute the 5 and combine like terms. Negative 9 and negative 5 is negative 14. So there's your rule. And now we're going to find the 10th term. 5 times 10 minus 14. The 10th term is 50 minus 14. I think that's 36. Not sure, but I think so. All right. Now we have to figure out the d value ourselves. We know a1. We know the first term. Now how do you get from to the next, to the next, to the next? You're actually subtracting 5. Minus 5, minus 5, minus 5, minus 5. So this d value is minus 5. So the nth term is the first term plus d times n minus 1. The nth term is the first term, which is 50. Now d is negative 5, so I'm going to do minus 5 times n minus 1. Distribute the negative 5 and you get negative 5n. Negative 5 times negative 1 is positive 5. So the nth term is negative 5n plus 50 plus 5 is 55. So there's your rule. And now to find the 10th term, negative 5 times 10 plus 55, negative 50 plus 55 is 5. So the 10th term is equal to 5. Unfortunately, sometimes you're not given the first term or the difference, but sometimes you're given two non-consecutive terms. That means they don't follow one another. If this occurs, you have to find d first, and then you have to find the first term, and then you have to substitute into the formula that we've written about 8 times so far today. So in order to find d when two non-consecutive terms are given, let's say the two non-consecutive terms are ax and az. Let's say maybe they give us the 10th term and the second term. So if you have the 10th term and the second term, to figure out what d is, you're going to subtract those two terms, the later term minus the earlier term, and then you're going to subtract the term numbers. Like if they give you the 10th term and the second term, it's a10 minus a2 all over 10 minus 2. And that's how you calculate d. And then you're going to figure out A1 after that. You can either count backwards or you can figure it out from the formula. So how does this go? We have to write a rule, just like we did on the previous page, for the nth term, and then we're going to find the 90th term after that. So what they give us is the third and the sixth term. So these are non-consecutive terms. So how we have to figure this out is first we find D. D is the sixth term minus the third term, all divided by 6 minus 3, those term numbers. Well, A6 is 21. A3, the third term, is 12. 6 minus 3 is 3. 21 minus 12 is 9. 9 over 3 is 3. So the D value is 3. So now we have to figure out what A1 is. Well, how do we figure out A1? Well, there's a couple of ways to do it. We don't know what that is. We don't even know what the second term is, but we do know what the third term is. The third term is equal to 12. They tell us that. So if the difference is 3, what we can do is we can just subtract 3 to get back to the next one. 12 minus 3 is 9. And subtract 3 more. 9 minus 3 is 6. So we know the first term because we know what the difference is between the terms. That's probably the easiest way to get back to the first term, is to just subtract the difference, however many times you need to. So since we found A1 now, and since we know what D is, we can figure out the nth term. The nth term is equal to the first term plus D times n minus 1. Well, the first term is 6. D was 3. And distribute the 3, 3n minus 3, and combine like terms. So 3n plus 6 minus 3 is 3. So there's the rule. And that's what we were asked for. The rule is 3n plus 3. Now we have to find the 90th term. So the 90th term is equal to 3 times 90 plus 3, right? 3n plus 3. 3 times 90 plus 3. 3 times 90 is 270. 270 plus 3 is 273. I believe. If I'm wrong, somebody send me an email. Next, they give us the second and the sixth. So to figure out D, you take the sixth term, subtract the second term, divided by the 6 minus 2 term. The sixth term is 20. The second term is 12. 6 minus 2 equals 4. 20 minus 12 is 8. 8 over 4 is 2, so the D value is 2. And now since they give us the second term, which is 12, we can figure out the first term because it's just 12 minus 2, which is 10, right? To get to the next term, you have to add 2. To get to a previous term, you have to subtract 2. So now we know A1, we know D. Now we can set up the formula. The nth term is the first term plus D times n minus 1. The nth term is the first term, which is 10, plus D is 2 times n minus 1. Distribute the 2, 2n minus 2. 2n, 10 minus 2 is 8. So there's your rule. The nth term is 2 times n plus 8. And you can kind of just do a quick check. Is the second term 2 times 2 plus 8? Well, 4 plus 8 is 12, so that works. Is the sixth term 20? A6, is that 2 times 6 plus 8? Well, 2 times 6 is 12. 12 and 8 is 20, so that checks. You can just do a quick check to make sure you're right. And now they want us to find the 90th term. Well, the 90th term is 2 times 90 plus 8. 2 times 90 is 180. 180 plus 8 is 188. So the 90th term is 188. So those are the two things they wanted us to find. If you want to shut the video off and try these on your own, that would be fine. Or you can just keep listening to me. The D value is the 7th minus the 4th, which is equal to A7 is 40, A4 is 70, 7 minus 4 is 3. Well, 40 minus 70 is negative 30 over 3, which is negative 10. So the D value is negative 10 on this one. And the first term, well, we know the fourth term. The fourth term is 70, and since the D value is negative, to get to the previous term, you add 10. So we've got 80. The second term is 90, and the first term must be 100 because you have to add 10, because to get to the next one, you go down by 10. So to get to previous ones, you go up by 10. So we've got AN equals A1 plus D times N minus 1, which is 100 minus 10 times N minus 1, which is equal to 100 minus 10N plus 10, which is equal to negative 10N plus 110. There's the rule. And then we have to find the 90th term. So the 90th term is negative 10 times 90 plus 110. So this is negative 900. I guess I better do that on my calculator. Negative 900 plus 110, which is negative 790. And then the last one, they give us the 6 and the third. So the D value is the 6 minus the third over 6 minus 3, which is negative 21 minus a negative 3 all over 6 minus 3. So D is equal to negative 21 plus 3 is equal to negative 18 over 3, which is negative 6. So if we know the third, we can figure out the second and the first. The third is negative 6. Whoops, the third is negative 3, sorry. And then to get to the next one, you're going to add 6. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3. And then you're going to add 6 more. 3 plus 6 is 9. So to get to the next ones, you subtract 6. To get to the previous ones, you add 6. So now what is the nth term? AN equals the first term plus D, which is a negative 6 times N minus 1, 9 minus 6N plus 6, which is negative 6N plus 15. And then the 90th term is equal to negative 6 times 90 plus 15. Let's see, negative 6 plus 90. Oops, times 90. Negative 6 times 90 plus 15 is negative 525. And that's it for today. See you tomorrow.